Are you trying to figure out which city is the best to move to in Texas? Let's talk about that. Hey everyone, welcome. If you're new, my name is Jaden. I'm a real estate agent here in the Houston area. I post videos weekly on personal finance and the best areas to live in Houston. So if that sounds interesting to you, go smash the like button and subscribe while you're down there as well. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. So the big question on everyone's mind as we move into 2021 is, should I move to Dallas or Houston? Well, today you're in luck because I'm going to answer all the questions you've been searching YouTube for. Houston or Dallas? Space City or the Big D? Houston being the largest city in Texas and Dallas being the third largest. They're 240 miles apart, so a nice 3.5 hour drive. Or if you're lucky enough to travel in Elon Musk's rocket ship, that bad boy will get you there in a quick minute and 34 seconds. So now I'm going to lay out each city's facts and show you some reasons why they're both great places to live. And at the end of the video, I'll give you my opinion on which city I'd choose to pack up my things and move to. So let's talk about Houston first, since I'm currently living here and I got a good sense of the vibe we got going on here. Like I said before, Houston is the largest city in Texas and the fourth largest in the country. Now let me quickly put that in perspective for you. Compared to a booming city like Portland that's growing at a rapid pace and holds just over 600,000 people, Houston holds 2.4 million people, making even one of the strongest and fastest growing cities look like a little tiny Yorkie. That means if every single person wanted to move out of Portland and come over to Houston, we'd be chilling. Houston could hold nearly 4 times their population and then some. Houston is actually the largest city in the nation by total amount of area. Houston being a Gulf Coast city brings tons of new residents and visitors during those summer months, which brings in a surge of new people looking for those nice sunny days at the okay looking Galveston beaches, which in fact is only a 30 to 45 minute drive. But on the other hand, being so close to the Gulf of Mexico makes Houston prone to devastating hurricanes. I got to witness firsthand the madness of Hurricane Harvey in 2017, wiping out the entire city of Houston. Now let me go over the weather here in the Space City. It's hot. Well, let me go more in depth, even though that's a good quick summary of the weather we have here in Houston. I'd be lying if we said we had perfect weather, but it's not far from it. In the spring and fall months, you can expect beautiful sunny skies sitting around the 70s to 80s. During those months, Houston is a wonderful and beautiful place to be outside. Then we get to the summer months. These are where my problems with the weather really start to show up. Like I mentioned before, Houston sits close to the Gulf of Mexico, which brings in that warm, moist air. Match that with our extremely hot summers with the sun blaring down on you, will definitely make you feel like you've been in a sauna for a couple hours. Not only is it hot as hell, it also rains almost every other day in August, which is our hottest month. That combination merges together, and then boom, there's our crazy high humidity. In those summer months, if you don't mind getting a little toasty and have a working AC, it's not unbearable. These winter months that we've been in, I think that's where Houston really shines. It's mild and it's not super cold. The lowest we get is in the high 30s, but we also have in addition that beautiful, gorgeous, shining sun. Now that combination fuses together, and I like to call that perfect weather. Now Houston's weather isn't for everyone being so hot, but it's definitely not so terrible as everyone makes it seem. Now let's go over the cost of living here in Houston. We use the cost of living index to determine how expensive it is to live somewhere in the United States. The cost of living index is based on the US average of 100. An amount below 100 means Houston is a relatively cheap place to live. A living index above 100 means Houston's more on the expensive side. Houston's index is only 96.5, so not the most expensive out there, but it's also not the cheapest. The average housing cost here is around $185,000. So if you're moving from a big city like LA that has crazy high housing costs, you can ball out and get a 5-bedroom brand new house for $400,000. It's crazy, right? Which compared to that 3-bedroom house you were living in LA, it's a pretty big jump, right? So I've got to say Houston has definitely got the best bang for your buck. In the 1900s, after Galveston got hit by a devastating hurricane and destroyed almost all of Galveston, the Houston residents tried hard to turn it into a deep water port city and eventually improving the Houston Ship Channel. The original port of Houston was located at the meeting of Buffalo Bayou and White Oak Bayou. This area is called Allen's Landing and is now a park. It is also the birthplace of the city of Houston. In 1914, the first steamboat service began taking passengers all the way to New York. And today, the Port of Houston is one of the country's busiest deep sea ports, employing over 750,000 workers. Now that we took a look at Houston, let's dive into Dallas. With 1.4 million people, making it the 9th largest city in the nation, behind Houston's 4th place title. But Dallas is a part of the 4th largest metropolitan area in the country, holding over 7.6 million people. Being so close to Fort Worth, only 34 miles away, and Arlington, only 20 miles. Dallas's metropolitan area is sometimes referred to as DFW, or simply the Metroplex. Dallas has a lower population density compared to Houston. That doesn't mean anything to you now, right? I'm gonna make it a little bit easier for you. Population density is the average amount of people living in each square mile of a piece of land. So Dallas has a fewer amount of people living in each square mile of land. Dallas is at the edge of the Great Plains, so none of those beautiful palm trees you see here in Houston. But due to Dallas being on the southern end of what's known as Tornado Alley, makes them a target for those devastating tornadoes. Dallas has been hit by tornadoes multiple times in its history, with the latest one hitting ground on October 24th, 2020. It was rated as an EF3 storm with winds up to 140 miles an hour and costed the city $2 billion in damages. Now technically both Houston and Dallas share the same subtropical climate, but if you've ever visited either of these cities, you know that's just far from the truth. Both cities have 4 seasons, and the winter months in Dallas are just as mild as they are in Houston. But being farther north, Dallas does snow some years. So if you love the surprise of waking up on Christmas morning to find a little 2-inch teeny tiny pile of snow, Dallas is for you. Both Dallas and Houston are flat, being nowhere close to mountains. Dallas's roads and highways are so much cleaner than they are in Houston. Not just the roads and architecture, but the air quality as well. In November of 1841, 5 years after the Texas Revolution, a dude named John Neely Bryan founded Dallas. Supposedly, Dallas was named after the Vice President George Dallas, but this has been disputed because there's multiple Dallases it could have been named after. Both cities became U.S. cities when the U.S. annexed Texas in 1845. After this, Dallas transformed from a mostly agricultural economy to becoming a booming manufacturing city. It led the country in manufacturing horseshoes, cotton gins, medicine, and liquor. While Houston is known for being one of the most culturally diverse metros in the country, its residents speak over 145 different languages. Dallas is pretty diverse too, though. In fact, a higher number of residents in Dallas are born in another country, being 25% of their population, compared to 22% in Houston's population. Now I want to go over Dallas's cost of living, since I know that's one of the most important factors when you're moving. Like I said earlier, we use the cost of living index to figure out how expensive it is to live somewhere. Dallas ranks slightly higher than Houston on the scale of cost of living. The cost of living in Dallas is 101.6. That's slightly higher than the US and Texas average. If you're looking to move in a 1-bedroom apartment in downtown Dallas, that will set you back around $1,200 a month. But in downtown Houston, a 1-bedroom there will cost you around $1,300 a month. Dallas residents also have a slightly higher average salary. So match that with the great home prices you get, makes Dallas a great place to live. So I hope this video gave you a little bit more insight on which city you choose to live in. I'm currently living in Houston and I'm not looking to move out anytime soon. But if I were to move anywhere, Dallas wouldn't be a bad choice. If you're looking to relocate to Houston and want to find out some more information about what all Houston has to offer, feel free to call, text, or email me. All my contact information is always in the description below, so feel free to go give me a shout. Thank you all for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please comment down below so I know you guys liked it. And as always, stay safe, keep grinding, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.